Yes. Est-ce que tout le monde entend bien? Vous entendez bien? Oui, très bien. Okay, so I just made a very short presentation of your bio just right now, and now we're happy to listen to you. I have maybe one question for you. Are cities the right place or the better place, ideal place where a collaborative and citizen democracy can grow?
I certainly think so.
So we'll listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're here to celebrate the enduring strength of the human city in an age of high technology. Once it seemed possible that electronic interactions would make face-to-face contact, and the cities that enabled that contact obsolete. Today, it is clear that the rise of new technologies has made cities more, not less vital. Above all, the complementarity between cities, between technology and urbanity, reflects the fact that technology has radically increased the returns to skill, to knowledge, and to innovation. We are a social species that becomes smart by being around other smart people. The more complicated an idea is, the easier it is for that idea to get lost in translation, which is why meeting face-to-face is so valuable in today's world. And that's also why I'm so sad that I'm not in the room with you today. Urban successes are occurring throughout the world, from Shenzhen to Seattle, from Nairobi to Nantes, but not every city is a success. What determines which places have managed to adapt to the new age of technology? Above all, human capital. Skills and education are the bedrock on which urban success rests. We look within the US or within the EU or within China or India or Brazil, years of education predict higher wages, higher population growth, and less fortunately, higher housing prices. Other forms of urban human capital, like entrepreneurship, are also strongly correlated with urban success. That's why I often tell local leaders that the right strategy for local economic development is to attract and train smart people and then get out of their way. But that is not a call for laissez-faire. Attracting smart people requires competent governments that focus on livability, the great asset of 21st century cities. Why is Silicon Valley such a success? Partially because its climate has attracted so many talented people. French cities are globally famous for their livability, and the rise of new technology makes it possible for all of our cities to become even more pleasant and attractive. Smart technology can reduce crime rates, make our streets move more seamlessly, and enable people to find exactly the restaurant they want on any given evening. But these technologies also create challenges, and I want to highlight three. First, the regulatory challenge. Second, the inequality challenge. And third, the institutional challenge. The regulatory challenge is that new technologies require new regulations. Sometimes these regulations need to be tougher. Sometimes they need to be less onerous. For example, consider self-driving automobiles. The engineers tout their advantages at creating efficiencies that will reduce traffic congestion. But without the right regulatory intervention, without congestion pricing, these gains will prove to be a chimera. They will disappear. The history of transportation teaches us that every new innovation meant to ease traffic congestion calls forth more drivers who can often make things worse. Gilles Deranton and Matthew Turner have identified what they call the fundamental law of highway traffic. Vehicle miles traveled increase roughly 1 for 1 with highway miles built. If you build it, they will drive it. Self-driving cars can radically reduce the cost of sitting in traffic. So guess what will happen? Thousands of more people will be willing to sit in traffic because they can work a little bit while they're doing it, because they can read. With more people willing to sit in traffic, think what's going to happen to Paris. Just wait until autonomous vehicles clog the périphérique. Just wait until autonomous vehicles make New York utterly impassable, and Shanghai. It will be a nightmare unless we start introducing congestion pricing on autonomous vehicles from the start. We need to charge these cars for the social costs of driving, both environmental and the time that they waste for other drivers through congestion. It will be easy to charge autonomous vehicles in real time based on global positioning systems, right? Singapore is working out the technological details as we speak. Indeed, we don't need to look further than Singapore, which has had congestion pricing for 40 years to see the advantages of actually driving drivers for the congestion that they create. It's the second densest country on the planet, but its roads move swiftly because they charge their drivers. But while autonomous vehicles need more regulation, in other cases we need less regulation. The Société de Grand Paris is planning a vast rail network, which can be a signature transportation project of the 21st century. But unless it is easy to add significant, dense but attractive housing projects near the new stops, the main benefits of this project will be lost. There will be rails that go through empty space. Indeed, more generally, France must grope with the great challenge of both preserving its historic beauty and allowing more growth. I believe that French cities are up to this challenge, but it will not be easy, right? Affordability requires more construction, but the beauty of these cities is one of their greatest assets. The challenge of inequality also comes with new technology. New technologies over the past 40 years have always tended to help the skilled more than the unskilled. It is the skilled who know how to code, the skilled who are the target of this innovation. Older urban workers have sometimes been unwilling to use new tools. They've been unwilling to even open their desktop to improve efficiency. There is no silver bullet here, but our best tool is education. For at least 2 centuries, the French have led the world in engineering education. Of course, I'm a little biased. My best friend in graduate school taught me a great deal of math, was the polytechnicien. Somewhat amusingly, the greatest English engineer, Isambard King de Brunel, was predictably enough trained in France. We all must innovate technological education. We all must experiment new programs to teach children how to code, how to use all of the tools that are being created. American ghettos, French banlieues, and the favelas of Rio and the slums of Kolkata must be learning environments. And we must rigorously evaluate these experiments. Because if you innovate and you don't evaluate, ideally using randomized controlled trials, it's like the innovation never happened. We have to constantly experiment in the goal of democratizing skills. Finally, there's the challenge of institutions. Again, we have 20th century institutions trying to deal with 21st century technologies. We should rethink our structures of government, rethink the boundaries of public and private space, rethink the role of independent public entities. These problems are not easy, but it's great in Boston to try to plan transportation and land use. There are 187 fiercely independent cities and towns within the metropolitan area. I want to end to first conversations as the day goes on. I hope you do not forget the developing world. As exciting as smart cities of Europe may be, the biggest action in urbanization is in the poorer parts of the planet. In 1960, not a single one of the world's poorest countries was more than one-third urbanized. Today, more than 40% of such countries are more than one-third urban. And we see the rise of cities like Kinshasa, places that are both poor and poorly governed. The urbanization of the developed world carries great promise. The road from poverty to prosperity always runs through cities. When you compare those countries that are more than one-half urbanized to those countries that are less than one-half urbanized, more urbanized countries have on average incomes that are 5 times higher and infant mortality levels that are less than one-third. But there are also diseases that come with density, like contagious disease, congestion, crime, and high housing costs. These will have to be fought just like the cities of the 19th century fought contagious disease with a combination of infrastructure, incentives, and institutions. Think of the sewers of Paris built by Baranowski, right? This is the great problem of 20th century poor world megacity. Building the cities of the developing world is one of the highest vocations of the 21st century. And I hope you continue to think about them today and in days to come. Finally, I would like to end on a note of hope. There are many things in the world today that look dark. I often fear to look at the news media every morning. With climate change, we have geopolitical risks, we have the sundering of the European Union. But amidst these dangers, there must also be optimism. For millennia, human beings have come together in cities and collaboratively created miracles. In culture, Think of Monet and Pissarro and Manet and Renoir in 19th century Paris, all learning from each other, creating a chain of collaborative creativity that has given humanity some of its greatest hits. In politics, think of the democracy that was born in Athens and reborn in Amsterdam. In science, in philosophy, in philanthropy, cities have been enabling humanity to do amazing things for aeons. The new technology, the smart cities, will just enable this to happen more quickly and more often. The great progress that cities create is fundamentally human, it's collaborative, and it is plays to our greatest strength, our ability to work together. This process, this collaborative process, will not stop, and it must not stop now. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for all you do for the city.
Thank you very much. Thank you.